In episode 4 of the Roots of War Commander Talents, we're going to be discussing mages. So stick around in this video because we'll be breaking down the builds on each of every mage, which I believe will be the most game changing unit type in a map such as the Roots of War upcoming map. What is up, guys? MEOWER here, back with a brand new Call of Dragons video. So I got some juicy information before we get started in part 4, and I'll be uploading more and more juicy information, so don't forget to like and subscribe because you don't want to miss out on anything that I am going to share. Anyway, for the upcoming Roots of War, that has been the theme of the channel so far because I'm super excited for the game mode, and I'm sure you are too. And you want to be as ready as possible for it to, in order to gain as much advantages and eventually win those 10 gold heads that are just so much pure value and so much pure fun in a map such as this. We finally gotten our wish of having a pure open field fight without the limitations of stamina. That is right. Roots of War will not be consuming any stamina. It will not. The commanders there will not have the stamina system that is present in the land of Tamaris. So that is pretty much going to be a game changer, meaning that you can just go absolutely crazy with your commanders, with your marches. You can test everything without the fear of any limitations of stamina or the fear of running out of stamina. The only thing you can run out of eventually is going to be troops, but you have the possibility to have unlimited resource healing, and you're going to have some initial starting healing, which or just elixir healing purely, but I don't like the idea of having zero initial starting healing, but that will be a topic for another video. Anyway, with that super juicy information out of the way, today's video topic is gonna be all about mages. And of course, tomorrow I'm gonna be recording and uploading the topic about the gatherers, and then finally I'll have a special video dedicated for Hosk and Thea because they're pretty much a jack of all trades, master of none, along with some general information about the map itself. And then on Thursday, hopefully I'll be able to stream our fight in the map. So be sure to stay tuned because we have a lot of content coming up on the channel. Anyway, if you have any special content that you'd like to see, please be sure to drop video ideas in the Discord. The link is in the description, and I hope to see you there because I do enjoy talking with you guys. Anyway, guys, that being said, let's get started. So we're gonna have our Liliya tree. Of course, mages, in my opinion, are going to be the absolute game changers in Roots of War because the sheer amount of chokeholds, meaning that there's going to be a lot of clumped up enemies and it will be really hard to maneuver or spread out, meaning AoE from skill damages such as Liliya, Velyn, Waldyr, and such have are going to have so much pure value that you just need them to hit as hard as possible. So, with that in mind, let's start building our Liliya. For Liliya, we're going to have a really standard build. Like this is pretty much for her being your first primary and having a villain as your secondary or whatever as your secondary. I mean, you shouldn't really be running Liliya primary anyways unless you have Valiant as her secondary. So we're just going to be specking her accordingly. So we're going to go for overall attack. We're going to go for intimidation. And then we're going to go for high spirits, just for the extra rage generation, and then we're gonna go for boiling blood. Boiling blood is just so much better than having spirit of rage because casting skills and granting only 20 additional rage is nothing, while making your deputy deal 8% more skill damage is gonna provide so much more value. We can go for unquenchable will, and then we're just gonna go for the standard crit build because there's really not any other options for us to go through. And the reason for that is, well, a notable contract, we don't really gain any heals or shields if we're running Velyn secondary, and we don't really want to take any hero skill damage to begin with, so this will be absolutely useless. As steady hands, we don't get any buffs that will trigger it, and then of course getting hit to gain Rage is not really an option for us. And then, of course, Cage Animal is a no-brainer because mages last a really long time in combat, so getting more and more and more skill damage over time, because every time you're going to cycle a skill damage, you're going to get 0.5%, and in the end, you're definitely going to hit the cap of the 8% anyways, versus Thirst for Blood, that it's just a standard 60 damage factor, which is not really something remotely good anyways. As for the magic tree, we're going to go for the usual 2 points here in magic speed, and then we can go for fully loaded or we can go for foresight. Personally, I feel like since we already have a 10% chance here in high spirits, we can just take 1 point here in foresight and then take 2 points here in fully loaded. And then, of course, we're going to go for intimidation again for even more skill damage because that's the entire point of the build. And then finally, we're going to go for Magic Maelstrom because Magic Maelstrom is just far more superior, granting us defense penetration and defense break. Ignoring 10% of the target's defense for 10% for 5 seconds is pretty amazing, while Energy Boost is just not that valuable in comparison to the value from the defense break. And of course, for our last point, we can put it here. It's okay if we sacrifice like 1% attack damage just to gain double that in hero skill damage. Mathematically wise, that extra skill damage is just far more valuable than the 0.8% normal attack loss. And that is it for the Liliya tree. And now we're going to be building Velyn. Velyn mainly has two builds. One that is more support, so more control tree heavy, and the other is a defense break cycle non-stop. So we're going to be going through both builds. So this is going to be build number 1. We're going to go for the standard overall attack. We're going to go for the defense, and then we're going to go for HP. We're going to go for backstabber. And then this is, of course, the defense break cycling build. We're going to go for Rivalry. Rivalry is far more valuable than overall speed or overall defense. Then we're going to go for Fury Flame, of course. We want that skill damage anyways. We're going to go for Army of Valor. We're going to go pick up the March speed here. And then we're gonna go for strength to strength. Stubborn fighter is really just our best option right now. We could also go for rest and repose, but personally, I would rather just go for stubborn fighter because you really just want to last as long as possible in the open field with a mage march. So even if you lose under 50%, you can still get that much more value from the amount of skills that you're gonna be cycling through. And then, of course, Breach Blade for that defense break. And then we're going to go for Magic HP. We're going to go for 1 point of Foresight, 2 points here, and then 2 points here. And then, of course, we're going to go for Intimidation. And then finally, for Magic Maelstrom. And then our last point, we're going to put in Foresight. So we're going to take 6 points here, 5 here, and etc. This is the build number 1, just for pure cycling of the defense break. We're getting defense break from his regular skills. We're getting defense break from 2 talents, and then we're just gonna keep on defense breaking over and over and over again. So this is gonna be called the defense break build. And then, of course, we're going to go for now the standard, I believe, control build that is more heavily lenient on just CCing your enemies. And if you don't know what CC is, it's just debuffing, crowd controlling your enemies, and just providing more overall value for the rest of your allies for them to clean house. This is, of course, this build is going to be more provide more value if your Velyn is not gonna be expertise or just high enough skill, and you're not really that strong of a player. CC machine. We're gonna call this build the CC machine. So we're gonna go for overall attack. We're gonna go for overall march speed, and then we're gonna go for overall health. We're gonna go for backstabber. We're gonna go for control tree. We're gonna go for overall attack. We're gonna go for high spirits. And then for number 1, we're going to be having Cyclone Seal. That is much more superior than Soul Siphon. You don't really counterattack that much as a Mage March, so Siphon is going to lose that much more value, while Cyclone Seal is just going to keep on slowing over and over and over again every time you Rage Cycle. Pair that with something like Blindside. So we're going to be putting all the points here in blindside because as soon as you enter combat, as in versus any legion, you're going to be slowing it for 30%, and then couple that with cyclones, you're just going to keep on slowing over and over and over again. And then we're going to put 2 points here and tremble, and then 3 points in ambush. And then finally, of course, we're going to have all points in Sage. And then finally, we're going to put it in Recent just to have that chance of silence because silencing can be a game changer if you get lucky and silence your enemies quick enough. Of course, for our second build, we're going to go for the standard defense break. We're going to go for the 2 March speed, 2 foresight, and fully loaded. And then all points in intimidation, and our final build is going to be in Magic Maelstrom. So this is the CC machine where you're just going to keep on cycling your skills. You're going to keep on trying to silence them, keep on slowing, applying debuffs and such. By the way, for Liliya, you can also go for the overall speed instead of the overall defense. This is up to you. Personally, I prefer the extra defense in comparison to the extra speed because if you're caught out as a mage march, that extra speed is not going to save you anyways. But the defense is going to help you because in Mage Wars, it's just going to be so much AoE going on that the extra defense might take away some dead damage. Anyway, next up we have Waldyr. And then for Waldyr, personally, I would just go for a build that is relatively similar to that of Liliya, and a mixture, of course, of the Velyn defense break machine. So we're gonna go for the standard um, skill cycling. This is, of course, if Waldyr is the primary in with Liliya, when paired with someone like Liliya or with Velyn. This build only works with Liliya or Velyn as their secondary because we're gonna go for the Boiling Blood build. So we're gonna go for Quenchable Will, Focus. Here we can take either Steady Hands or the extra crit as the extra crit. So we're gonna go for Steady Hands because Waldyr does have a buff on him. He does provide himself a shield, so shields do count as a buff. So they're gonna pretty much activate Steady Hands every single time he has it. And then we're gonna go for magic HP, 2 points here, 2 points here, and 1 point here. We're gonna go through for all 5 intimidation, defense break, and lastly, we're gonna get that detached. So this build only works with Liliya Vels. This build only works with Liliya and Velyn. So we're gonna name it here Liliya Vel. So this is the Liliya Velyn build if they are his secondary, but if they are not his secondary and you have a secondary such as Alwyn, you're gonna pretty much be a defense breaking machine because Alwyn provides CC. He doesn't really provide that much damage, so you don't really need the skill tree anyways. So we're gonna go for the defense breaking machine that we had on Velyn. We're gonna go for Fury Flame. We're gonna go for Army of Valor, the March Speed, Strength to Strength, Stubborn Fighter, Defense Break, Magic HP, 2 points here, 3 points here. We don't need the fully loaded. And then Intimidation, and of course the Magic Maelstrom. And our last point, we're gonna be putting it into Foresight. So this is the build with Alwyn as the secondary, Alwyn Sec. So these are the 2 most viable builds on Waldyr. These, of course, are my opinion. If you have a different opinion, feel free to share it with me, whether if it's in the comments below or in my Discord. And yeah, these are the 2 Waldyr builds. Next up, we got our boy Alwyn, the master of CC and poisons. So we're gonna Alwyn pretty much only has actually has the 2 very viable, either a CC machine or a defense breaking machine. So you know the drill. We're gonna go for attack. We're gonna go for march speed, and then we're gonna go for HP. We're gonna go for backstabber. We're gonna go for even more march speed, overall attack, rage generation. Here we're gonna go for cyclone seal, of course, blind snare, some blind side, 2 points in tremble, 3 points in ambush, and then of course we're gonna go for sage, and then we're gonna go for the rinse it. Now we're gonna go for the defense break, of course, because this is pretty much all about applying as many debuffs as possible. So we're gonna put all 5 points here, and of course the last build. This is gonna be the CC machine build, and then we're gonna go for the defense breaking build. So here, 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 and here. Also, the reason why we're not really picking up any rivalry because the commander such as Alwyn is not really gonna do that much damage. So you supplement that damage with as much debuffs that you can apply as possible, just to synergize with his kit and help your allies do even more damage because everyone can benefit from the defense break. And yeah, this is the def break build, and that is it for our sad boy Alwyn. Next up, we're gonna go for Atheus. So Atheus is a really interesting commander, mainly because he's flying and he's pretty much the only flying commander that runs with mages pretty well, or celestials rather. So we're gonna be specking him for a rather speedy harassment build because he's not really that viable in terms of PvP. So we're gonna go for a nice little harassment build that can go over cliffs, go over choke points, go over whatever, and just harass as many gatherers as possible. So we're gonna go for overall speed. We're gonna go for attack. Then we're gonna go for 3 points in ambush. Does this prove? Nope. We're gonna go full on ambush. We're not gonna go for swift maneuvers. We're gonna go for preemptive preparations because when you are running a ranged flying march such as swift maneuvers, you're not really gonna be entering buildings or resource points that much anyways. So you're just gonna rely more on abusing the terrain pretty much. Next up, we have either going haste for plan B and going a sneak attack. So I think we're gonna go for that. We're gonna go for. Do we have any other options here? Nope. We're gonna go for sneak attack. And then we're gonna go for maneuverability. And then finally, we're gonna go for passing shadows because it provides just so much more value. Here, this execute is nice, but the amount of raw stats that you're going to be getting when activating an artifact every single time can either help you stay in the battle for longer or just run out of there much quicker. And then, of course, we're going to go for the standard magic, but here we're going to go for a full march speed because we don't really need foresight because Atheus already has a built-in rage generation in his kit, so we don't really need that much rage generation anyways, but we can still take it here just for the sake of having that extra rage. We'll never say no to it. You do have a maximum limit of 220 rage per turn anyways, so you're pretty much guaranteed to hit it on Atheus most of the time. That is the running Zoomie build. We're gonna call it Zoomies. Next up, we're gonna have a little different build. Of course, this is gonna be the classic defense breaking machine since he has the magic tree and the PvP tree, but it's gonna be more reliant on march speed because this is gonna be for you just to pick off any retreating person. So it's gonna be more suited towards PvP than just hitting gatherers. We're going to go Army of Valor. We're going to go for overall speed. You can never go wrong with speed for flying marchers, especially because they benefit the most from it, as they can traverse the terrain as much as possible. Blessings of Fury is not really that important because you don't really need that much HP on a flying march, especially as a celestial march. So I'm going to put 3 points in magic speed, 2 points in fully loaded, and then intimidation. And of course, we're going to go for magic maelstrom. And our last point, we're going to throw it in foresight. So this is going to be the death break build. And yeah, that is all the builds for the magic marches that I believe are going to be meta, pretty much, and are going to be the make or break builds for mages, especially because of the amount of value you're going to be bringing to the table in comparison to another build that doesn't really provide that much thief buffs, or doesn't provide that much attack, or doesn't provide that much defense break. So I hope you enjoyed this video and thank you for watching. If you like content like this, please be sure to drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe. Let me know what you guys think about the builds. I would love to hear your opinions. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have another build? Let's discuss it. Let's have a discussion on my Discord. I always try to respond there as fast as possible. And have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Meow meow.